mom may be with them. They'll take a wooden spoon and a feather and a paper napkin. And they will go around the house and they'll find all those little crumbs of leaven, and they will sweep them up with the feather into the spoon. They will fold the paper napkin over the spoon, and then they will take it out to a location, wherever it is that they're going to go. And the whole community will have a barrel with a fire, and they'll go and burn it all. And then they have a thing they say, and I'm going to have to go get it because I didn't bring that in here. So wait just a second. I'll be right back. I think it's in this one. Yep. Yeah. Not in that one. Sorry. I should have looked this up because I knew about it ahead of time. Nope, this is a different one. Oh. And it's probably in that one right over there. Those all describe it, but they didn't have the... There's a blessing or a prayer that they say. Yeah, he says, here it is. Any commits which is in my possession, which I did or did not see, which I did or did not remove, shall be nullified and become ownerless like the dust of the earth. And then, blessed are you. I think it's Jehovah our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us by his commandments and commanded us concerning the commandment of you, Eruv, but I think it has to do with the leaven. But they go and they basically, all the men stand around big fire, they burn their stuff, and then they say that. Any leaven that's there, which I did or didn't see or didn't own, it's no longer mine. It's null and void. And then they are freed from that, and they don't have to worry about it anymore because they took care of it. And by selling the stuff that's locked up, then they can get it out, next week, and they'll be just fine. Well, then you have the actual Seder, the actual ceremony, and we're going to go through a Christian version of that ceremony next week. But I wanted to explain everything that's happening. The first thing is the candles. And, well, actually, there'll be a blessing before that. But then usually it's the mom or grandmother of the family will come and light the candles, and they have a blessing that they're going to read over the candles. And I asked Betty to do that next week. There are some other things. I haven't got through everything, so Sunday I may be asking some of others of you to do some of it. Light the candles, and we'll probably, well, if any of you have little candle holders or just little candles we can put on the other tables and light them, that'd be great too, but we'll just have other people light them. But then they have the beginning of the ceremony. And he said, after the lighting of the candles, everyone sits down, and as soon as they sit down, they stand back up because they have to go over to the sink and wash their hands. Now, I've read this from a couple of different things. One of them said that they'd have a pitcher, and you'd have to pour water over your hands 3 times, and then dry off. Others say you've got this little dish on the table, which I'll tell you about in a little bit, that has a lemon in it, and that's water to dip your fingers in and dry them off, and that's the washing of hands. It's not about cleanliness. It's a tradition. And if you remember, Jesus was talking to the disciples, some of the Sadducees and Pharisees were talking to Jesus about the disciples, and they said, why do your disciples not wash their hands? Because that is something you're supposed to do, is wash your hands. But it wasn't about cleanliness. It was about following this law, following these things they have. The second thing about the candles is the Seder plate. Now, this is my Seder plate. I got this several years ago. But there are 6 different places around it. This one, I wish I may have the Jewish names for them anywhere. But the shank bone, yes, that's the Zeroah, and that's a shank bone. Well, this is actually shank bone from a lamb, or a goat, but I think it was a lamb. Because I got a leg of lamb. And I got it, and I told you all about cooking it, and then it has been cut. And I was telling the people at school today, I said, I got one, but it was cut. And you're not saying it's broken. And one of the ladies said, well, it wasn't broken, it was cut. So anyway, all the ones I've ever seen on pictures and stuff of modern stuff are all like this. They're all been cut. So that's the shank bone. That's one of the things that's on the Seder plate. And then you have a hard-boiled egg, and that's by Baitza. And it represents the sacrifice of the lamb. Can't tell you why an egg, but they started using an egg, and it's a symbol both of new life and hope and triumph over death. And at one point during the ceremony, there will be hard-boiled eggs all over on the tables, and everyone is to take a piece of it, and you're going to dip it in salt water and then eat it. That's part of the ceremony. And that's to, it says to portray the mourning over the destruction of the temple. And then you have bitter herbs. There's multiple kinds of these. Horseradish, which I have here, and then I messed up and left it in my car, and it was upside down, and the seal broke and it leaked all over the place. So we're not going to eat any of this. I don't trust it. But we will have some more next week that you will eat. They have that. We have some romaine lettuce, which is considered a bitter herb, and probably parsley. There's different things that we can use in this. But with the parsley, or could be celery or lettuce, whatever, the point that you will eat it, you'll dip it in that same salt water and then eat it. The horseradish is also called maror, M-A-R-O-R, and yes, I don't see it on here, but it is somewhere. That's parsley. Shank bone. Oh, it must just be right here where it says bitter herbs. When you eat it, you're going to take a piece of matzah, you're going to break off a little piece of it, and put a good-sized serving of horseradish. I mean, not horseradish cream, but ground horseradish, or this is called processed horseradish, and you eat it all at once. It will be very hot. It will open up your sinuses, burns everywhere, but hopefully you're supposed to eat enough to make you tears come from your eyes. And then that's to remind people of the bitterness of slavery they had in Egypt. And it's also a symbol of life. I guess life after the slavery. And then you have the haroseth. I hope I said that right. This is a mixture of apples, pecans, or walnuts, honey, cinnamon, raisins, figs, a little bit of wine or grape juice or something that way. When I make it, I usually use apples and pecans and honey and cinnamon. I don't put any of the other stuff in it, but it'll be kind of brownish in color and sweet, and that is to represent the mortar that they made bricks out of in Egypt. And it talked about the fact that, yes, it is sweet, even though their work at making the bricks was not. They knew that redemption was soon, and so that even the bitterest of labor was sweet, thinking about the fact that they were getting ready to be freed. And then the matzah, the unleavened bread. I skipped stuff, and I'll come back to it in just a minute. That's the other thing is on this plate. So you have parsley, lettuce, the haroseth, shank bone, the maror, and the egg. All of this will be on the plate, and there will probably be, other than the shank bone, there'll be other plates around on the tables that'll have the lettuce and the maror and all of that kind of stuff on them, so that each of you will be able to do it. There'll be 2 bowls placed, where people can get to it, every other person or something that way. One of them will have salt water, and it will have a little piece of parsley in it, so you know that it is salt water. And that's what you're going to dip the vegetables in when you eat it. The other one will have a slice of lemon in it, and that's the one that you dip your fingers in to wash, so you don't get them confused, okay? So wash with the lemon, eat the salt, all right? And then you have the matzah. This is a matzah, and this one is, it's kind of gotten stained over the years, but it's a little bag. Now, not everybody has, you don't have to have this, by the way. You can do this on your own, all of it. I'll give you the things for it. If you don't have or don't want to get a shank bone, you can just use any little piece of meat. And it doesn't have to be big because the plate is not very big. And you don't have to have a Seder plate. You can do it on any plate. But matzah bag has 3 different pockets. And you put 1 piece of the matzah in each of them. And the matzah, yes, Jewish people, why 3 and what do they mean? And some people say it means the law, the prophets, and the writings. Some people say it's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Some say it's the priests, the Levites, and the congregations. But we know it's the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And during the first part of the thing, we will take out the middle matzah, which would be which part of the Trinity? The Son, and we're going to break it. Well, before I break it, you notice it has little holes all through it? That's because if you didn't have those holes, it would puff up and you'd have a big hole, kind of like sopapillas, okay, how they do. Only they have a little leaven. This has no leaven, but it would do the same kind of thing. It also, the way they have it done, you get lines in it. And as it's remind us of the stripes of Jesus that he got on going before he went on the cross, piercing his body. But you take it and you break it, and you take the larger piece, which is this one, and we put it back in the bag for later. We take the smaller piece, if I can get it back in here. When I went back to, when I got all this stuff out last week, I found a piece of matzah down in here, probably in here 5 or 6 years. And this is called the afikomen. And you put the matzah, the smaller piece in the afikomen, and zip it up and go and hide it somewhere. one of the people I read said that if you had a nice father, he hid it in the same spot every year. But they would hide it to come back later. You have little wine goblets. I actually have 4 of these. These are for the cups of juice, the cups of wine. There will be 4 times that they drink a cup of wine or a cup of juice. And they're called the 4 cups. And then you have a water glass and then your plates and all the rest of your silverware and cups and anything else you need for the meal. There'll be 2, and I got it out 2. There'll be 2 that are a little more ornate, and one of them is for whoever is leading it, and the other is a cup for Elijah. They believe that Elijah will come back before the Messiah appears. They believe that the Messiah will appear during Passover or at the end of Passover. So there's a lot of things about that. But you fill his cup and you have an empty place for him at the table. And then you have the Haggadah. And I told you about this one this is a Haggadah. I got several others that are paperback. This one is just a little nicer, but it is Jewish, so you read it right to left. But if you want to look at it sometime, this one has a lot of different things in it other than just the Passover Haggadah, just the Seder thing. Some of those, this one is Jewish, and it's just the Jewish Haggadah. Jewish thing. So but it'll have it on one side is in Hebrew and the other side is in English, which is nice. So I'll leave that one out here and you can look at it. Have I forgotten anything? You wear whoever is leading. In fact, most of them would do this. You'd wear a kittel, which is a robe. Oh, I left it in my. No, that's the prayer shawl. You have a robe, which I'll have on. We have the prayer shawl. And all of this stuff that I bought, it came from Jews for Jesus when I got them. But this is something that the Jewish men would wear every day underneath their shirts or whatever. And then the kippah will go over it, and then you have a yarmulke, which I left. Oh, here it is. And by the way, if any of you want a yarmulke to wear, I've got 3 more. This one it's mine. It's getting all folded up. It's getting hard to stay on. When I did this at Kingsgate with the kids there, we had all the boys. I bought yarmulkes for every one of them, so they'd all be able to wear them. And some of them didn't want them, so I still have 3 in there. And then during the ceremony, it's called the 4 questions. And they have a child, doesn't matter which one, and it could be different ones. In fact, I've talked to Steve and Jody about having 4 different children, and they ask questions. The first one is, why is this night different from all the other nights? On other nights, we can eat bread or matzo. Why tonight only matzo? And then an adult will answer that. The second one, why is this night different from all other nights? On all the other nights, we can eat any kind of herbs, but tonight only bitter herbs. And there's an answer. And why is this night different? All the other nights, we don't dip our herbs when we eat into anything, but tonight we dip twice. And then the last one, why is this night different? On all other nights, we can eat either sitting up straight or reclining. Why tonight do we all recline? Don't forget your pillows, okay? And when you drink the cup, that's a really important thing, you're supposed to lean to the left before you drink the cup. And then you have a meal, and then after the meal, and hopefully no pork, no shellfish, no lamb. They would prefer, chicken, fish, things like that. And you can find. In fact, I've got a printout there of some recipes One of these books has a bunch of recipes in it. If y'all want to look, you can look online and find them. Then after dinner, after everyone is finished, then the leader, the dad, sends the kids out to find the Afikoman bag, wherever he hid it. When he brings it back, whichever kid brings it to him, finds it and brings it, he redeems it. He pays for, usually $5, $10, something like that, something to redeem it. So the kids are really excited. He gets to go do that. But it reminds us that Jesus is our Redeemer. Again, what they miss in a lot of this stuff. The leader will open it up. This officially ends the meal. But he opens it up and he'll break off about an olive-sized piece and pass it around to everyone to break off a little piece. You always wondered why our Lord's Supper has the little pieces of bread. This is why. They're supposed to get an olive-sized piece. By the way, the olive size, according to Jewish tradition, that's the smallest piece that you can bless. And that's why they do it. And then they eat that. And then you have the third and fourth cups, prayer of thanks. And then, because we talked about Elijah coming back, the kids will all run to the door. Sometimes I read one guy, and went to the door and went to the end of the block looking for Elijah. And because they believe he's coming back then. And then you have a song, and then the last prayer and the cup. And if you remember, after when Jesus did this with the Lord, the instituted the Lord's Supper, they ate the bread, they drank the cup, they sang a hymn, and then they went out to the Mount of Olives. This is all part of stuff that the Jewish people do today that Jesus started, and yet they don't grasp it. They don't know why. You ask them, you have the three things, and they think the matzah, they say it's the law of the prophets and the writings. Then why do you break the prophets? Or the priests, the Levites, and the lay people. Why do you break? It makes no sense. But if you look at it as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, yes, we know the Son was broken, and he was put in he was dead, died, was buried. That's why you bury it, hidden away. But he rose again. He came back to life, and Passover points to all of that, and yet they miss it. Okay, I went a couple of minutes over. Well, Elijah has come back. John the Baptist, that's right. No, I don't think anybody's going to come back until Jesus does, and then Elijah may come with him, but yes, yeah. What they believe is that the Messiah hasn't come yet. They missed that part. So, all right. Questions? Okay, everyone needs to stand up and walk up here to the choir, okay? Well, at least stand up and hold hands, and we'll join hands and we will sing. I tried, Bob.